We are finally doing our podcast that we've been talking about for how long now?
I don't know. How long has it been?
Since we came up with like the podcast idea, probably a couple months, more than a couple of months.
Yeah.
It's been at least like 4 months.
I'd say so.
We've been talking about it. It was hard to find a name, but you did good.
You did good.
You did good.
You did the Crystal's Claws. No, wait, no. Yeah.
You did good. That was
Okay,
you,
okay.
girl. You better take that credit. It's been a long time coming. Crystal's Claws and Coffee.
Here we are.
That is our podcast. We are so excited. So we decided to do Crystal's Claws and Coffee because we love crystals. Crystal gals over here.
Yes. Don't look at the claws right now.
Don't look at the claws right
They're
now.
a little bit in need.
It's a little ghetto over here, but it's okay. We love getting our nails done. I'll give you guys the hand that has all of the 5 fingers on them. You know,
Mine
5
too.
nails. 5 nails.
And the coffee.
And the coffee. Maybe sometimes it'll be wine. Or if it's a hard day,
It really depends.
vodka.
It really depends on what day it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Coffee is a necessity of our life.
Coffee's an everyday thing.
An everyday thing.
For sure.
Coffee, I have coffee in the morning. And when I come home, like home, Boston home, it's like at night too.
Really?
My family, we drink coffee at night.
Okay, so you guys do like
It's like
after
a Puerto
dinner.
Rican thing. I don't know what's wrong with these people, but I be about it.
That's why
Puts
you
me to
guys be
sleep.
up banging away until 3 a.m. in the morning.
Always, always.
Okay, so what are we doing today? What is our episode today?
So today we decided to do who is behind Crystal's Claws and Coffee.
Perfect.
We decided to say it's CCC. So who's behind it? So I'm Jenny Martinez.
I'm Brenda Fan.
And we are the gals that started this podcast, and we wanted to just bring a community together for support and to just go on this journey of life together, because I feel like so many people, they feel like they can't really express their journey, or they feel like they're the only ones going through it. And it's like, no, there's so many people that are going through the journey with you.
That's true.
So we wanted like a safe place and a safe space to be able to talk about that and just talk.
Yeah, I want to recognize that whole community thing because, you know, when you're on a self-healing journey, it definitely feels really lonely because you're going through a lot of changes. You're losing a lot of people. You might be like, your whole life is upside down, and you know, a lot of us are just kind of going through it at the same time, but like we can do it together. I think that's the whole point. It's like you don't have to be alone in your kind of like healing journey.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that a lot of people, and to reiterate, like I feel like you do lose a lot of people on your journey because you finally realize like, it's not that you love them less than you did yesterday or months ago or a year ago. It's just that you know that where you're going, they can't get into that limo with you.
Girl, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
That's an Oprah quote.
Yeah. You can't. They can't. They can't.
You can't take everybody with you. But what you can do is you can meet new people that are going on the same path, on the same road as you along the way. So yeah, I think that's a great way to summarize what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like, and we keep going back like to losing people, but you also, the most important part too, is that you lose a part of you. That old part, that old self,
that old you,
that old like mentality, because you're trying to like think differently. And by thinking differently is like, you're trying to be better. So it's not like you're trying to like think differently in a different aspect. Like I'm no longer that person, but it's like, I'm no longer that version of myself. That's an old person that she didn't know better or he didn't know better. Cause this is for everybody. You don't have to be, you know, a gal. It can be a boy, a man,
they,
him,
whatever
you are, you are here in this community. So yeah. So who is behind CCC? It's just 2 girls who, just wanted to get a space and talk about it. And me and Brenda, I feel like we've been on the same kind of movement really forever. And it's weird, in a good weird, that we kind of like go through the same motions in different parts. Cause now you're in LA,
Yeah.
I'm in Phoenix, but even when you were in Boston,
a lot of things did happen in parallel.
Yeah, we were
going through a lot of very similar situations.
Yeah.
And we were always able to talk about it and kind of the blind leading the blind type of
It's like, don't ask me for advice, but here you go.
But it was nice to have someone that can relate.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like you said, you don't have to be alone. So it was really nice to I don't even know when it started. Jenny and I have been friends, for how long?
More than 10 years.
At least. Has it been?
Yeah, it's been more than 10 because
a whole decade.
So we met at
our place of employment.
we used to work for a housing department.
It was a nonprofit. Let's not say any names.
No names. We don't want to get sued. They're not going to sue us. We're like, we don't have any money. You can't sue us.
But yeah, we did meet when we were in college. Right at the time. I
had graduated. I had already graduated.
I was in school for 8 years. So yeah, I was still going through it. But yeah, so I don't know. We were cubby mates. We were teammates. And then somehow
we sat across from one another. So our computers were we
were sitting back to back to each other.
Yeah. So we would just I'll look over and she's there. And it's funny when we were thinking back, we'd be just be dreaming about
so much
what life would be outside of that place because we wanted different things. We didn't want to stay there. I wanted to become a news reporter.
Yeah, you were a
journalist, and I was like, oh God,
that's your dream.
Yeah, this is hard, and this is not my everyday life, and it's just but it was a great job for starting out.
I mean, it was one of our first jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was in school. It was my third major change.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to school for accounting for a year, and then I did business management. And then at that time, I went to school for architecture. So I wanted to be a designer, an architect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's how I ended up in a housing agency, which was sort of relevant. I needed the credits.
Yeah. I don't even know how. Okay,
I work credits.
I needed a job. So I just needed a job. And our mutual friend, Katie, we could name her.
Shout out to Katie.
Shout out to Katie.
For being the connector for everybody.
She was working there and she's like, oh, they're hiring for this position. You should apply. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I applied and I got the job. And
who didn't?
Who didn't?
They hired anyone off the streets, I'm telling you. But no. It was a great start. But I want to something I've been thinking about, Jenny, because we met there and we never really we hung out, but we didn't hang out like that.
No.
So I don't know at what point did we cross over and become besties.
Yeah. I don't know either. I don't know when that happened, but I know that it was we would hang out. We would go for lunch or whatever, and then we would go out.
We were work besties.
Yeah,
but then somehow we became real life besties.
Yeah, and then I think it was because you were working, in the night scene.
Yes,
she was.
I had a lot of different lives. We'll cover that for sure.
I'm wait, the night scene. That sounds weird.
Creature of the darkness.
So, and I was always going out with my other friends. So I would hit up Brenda and be like, yo, can you get me into this spot? And can you give me free alcohol? Because Boston's expensive when you're,
okay, no names will be named 22. Because I don't want to get sued for that too. But I think one of the points was I when you moved to Springfield,
mm-hmm.
and I made the effort to come and see you, and it was really just me and you, and we kind of hung out. And I think we must have been going through some kind of shit where we just kind of bonded over.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
I moved to Springfield. It's the loneliest place, literally, and it's west. For people who are not from Massachusetts, it's west of Boston. It's 2 hours away. It was really lonely. It was my first TV job. And Brenda was one of my friends that went to visit me.
Yeah, I made
and we
trip.
went to
the Broomfield Antique Show.
Yes.
Which is the biggest one in the country, by the way. It's a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sleep.
You came
on
out.
Broomfield.
Yep. And then we just kind of clicked and it's shifted.
I feel like that's when, for me at least, when it kind of shifted to okay. And then I just followed you around the country.
And then we went to Chicago.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was great.
that was good.
Yeah, so we've done quite a bit of traveling, but I would say that was like our old selves. You know, that was before we got into the crystals and like the healing journey. And I don't know, do we cover that part? I think, is that the other episode? That's the awakening episode.
No, the awakening episode is like this year because that was crazy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
So I feel like in everyone's life, and I'm sure in yours as well, we have all had that moment where you have to heal from something. So I feel like I've had different areas in my life where I've had to heal.
Yeah.
And they're all different and they're all so hard.
Yeah.
But when I read The Secret, I have to bring it up.
Oh my God.
When I read The
Jenny
Secret,
was like the biggest manifester. She would win like every raffle. I'm like, how do you do it?
I'm the winner.
She's like, I read The Secret. And I'm like, what is The Secret?
You just have to like already think you're the winner in your mind. Like I'm the winner. So I started reading The Secret and I was going through some stuff then. And I wanted to just change my life around in my thought process. And just like think of how I can kind of control my mind in that way and to bring more abundance to me.
Yeah, so you were an early adopter.
Yeah, so that was like in my mid-20s. And then my life shifted. And that's when I got the job in Springfield. And then my life kind of just shifted from there and kind of became that. This.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that was then. This is now.
Yes.
Currently, we are both Unemployed.
Yeah.
So Jenny and I both quit, of course, if everyone knows the Great Resignation of 2021.
That's another episode.
Yeah, that's definitely another episode we'll cover in depth. But we both quit our jobs this year. We're both back at home in Massachusetts. Like Jenny said, you're in Phoenix now. I just moved to LA. But, you know, it's the holidays. So we are back here for... I don't know. I've
been here for like 2 months, y'all.
For 2 months. I've just been here for 2 weeks and I've already been like, okay, I need to go. But, you know, it's a really good time for us to kind of get into like the podcasting and like the business side of things that we wanted to pursue. It's a great time.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about my decision to quit. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I think for me, it was definitely the best decision that I made, to leave my job. I resigned as a news reporter. And I don't know if that journey is final. I don't know. And that's something that I would have to like, when another opportunity, if it comes, I'll have to think about it. But for right now, it's the best decision. I haven't been home to enjoy my family and my friends in 8 years.
Yeah, you've been gone for
a while. So I've been gone for a really long time. And the time that I would come, it's like 10 days at that, like maybe 11.
Yeah.
So I didn't have much time. So it's right now, like it's been a hard, tough adjustment for me. Just because it's like, okay, I'm back in the swing of things back home, but I'm just a whole different person.
Yeah.
So that's been a very tough kind of thing for me.
I think so. I think that has happened to me too. And I've only been gone for a short period of time, but a lot has changed since, you know, I've been out in California. It's like you have this new expanded mind and you come back home, which is comfortable and same. Everything is the same. Everyone is the same, but you're different. And there's a lot to kind of like, kind of try to balance out there. So it does take some time to feel a little grounded.
Yeah. And I think that there was one point when I was here, and as I am here, I was really overwhelmed with a lot of emotion. And I remember I said to myself, I was driving and I was like, I need to be more present for this because this is what I wanted a few months ago. Like I had been telling my friends, I can't wait to just like not work.
Yeah.
I can't wait to just like, you know, just be. And so it's like, I can't be upset or overwhelmed for something that I wanted a couple months before,
right,
or a year before.
Right.
So I was given this opportunity and I'm thankful.
Yeah.
And I've obviously worked hard for this opportunity because I saved as much money as I could. And this is the moment. So I'm just like, just experience it and just be here and try to, make relationships stronger and just be with your family, because you just never know when their last day will be.
Oh my
unfortunately.
gosh, don't get all morbid
I know.
already.
I start crying.
Stop. I mean, I was only like a few weeks. Wait, you left in October. I quit in November.
Mm-hmm.
So my backstory, I guess, like I've had the same job doing marketing for like the last 7-8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was fortunate enough to work through the whole pandemic, work remotely last year, but it was just starting to like burn me out.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I went to California earlier this year for a couple of months, kind of like just dipping my toe into like the California life, I kind of knew that I didn't want to work remotely while I was in California, or maybe for the same thing, because I had a similar maybe experiences. I don't know if this is it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this what I want to do? Do I want to keep doing this?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just took the leap of faith in November and was like, I'm moving to California officially, and officially quitting. So that was a big leap of faith too. And I kind of just randomly picked a day and told my boss, and it was really stressful. But I think once I quit, I felt like a huge relief. It's different when it's like a work stress, because everything I was feeling was like, the world is going to shit. Like, people are dying. Like, there are protests and riots. It's crazy out there. And why am I sitting in front of a computer like 10, 12 hours a day working for what?
Yeah.
It really just wasn't like that weighed on me a lot.
Yeah.
So I had to like figure out what it is I want to do. So I think with me quitting and kind of just dedicating this upcoming year, 2022, to kind of just like explore, do different things. The podcast is one of them. Crystal business is another one. So I'm really excited. I think there's a lot to look forward to. And yeah, it's nice to be home. Look, it's cozy.
It's cozy.
It's definitely cozy down
cozy.
here.
And I do want to say that Brenda has been wanting to move to LA for years. For years.
And it wasn't even like planned for this year. Like, who knew what 2021 was going to be after 2020, the year that we had? Like, who would have known what was coming? I definitely didn't. Like, I didn't plan any of this. So it just all kind of happened.
And we'll get into this when we do our awakening like podcast. But I remember leaving 2020 and saying to myself, 2021 has to be a better year. And while it wasn't the greatest year, it was definitely a better year, because we started traveling. Like, she was on the West Coast, so I was going to see her all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I literally saved my life, this girl right here.
And I convinced you to move.
Yes. And I'm just like, you know what? It's just so nice to have someone like on the same coast that is like so familiar, because you do need that. Like, you need a familiar person. I
feel like it's almost like an anchor, like someone who'll like bring you back to reality when you're kind of like,
and holds you accountable for things. This is not, because sometimes you forget, like when you're in your clouded mind or in whatever situation, you sometimes have to be reminded by someone who knew you before that situation to be like,
what is you doing?
What are you doing? This is not you. I think 2021 was definitely a better year for me because I got to travel.
Yeah.
Because in 2020, I was like, this ain't it.
This ain't it.
That's when I started realizing,
yeah, I think we all came to that moment where we're like, I can't do this.
I can't do this. I can't. Yeah, it was really hard. And just not traveling for me. Traveling is my way of just coming back to self. Mm-hmm. And I've learned, obviously, that you need to live a life that you don't want to escape from.
Mm-hmm.
You do. But I still want to go and travel and see the world because I see it from, my way.
I completely agree, because even with the whole lockdown in place, like nothing was open. So when I was in California, we did a lot of traveling, just being outdoors, which I think was like the best medicine there could have been,
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Phoenix a couple of times too.
You stayed with me for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, there were a couple of times.
Like, good night.
I think I went to Phoenix like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like I was we were like up and down California.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think during that time too, it was really like a big realization that, you know, travel does help.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to big cities. You just literally just need to get out of your mind sometimes, and traveling definitely helps kind of ground you. And I realize I love being outdoors, like nature-y kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's important. It's really important to just like go outside.
We don't notice that until like we were all locked down for a whole year and we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? And then finally being able to like just be outside. Like we take that stuff for granted. Yeah. So,
and I think, I mean, 2020, don't get me wrong. I think what it did to everyone mentally, it basically had you just like pause and just reflect. Like, this is who you are when you can't go anywhere. Yeah. Can you face yourself?
No.
Can you face yourself? Because if you can't, you have work to do.
That was like,
and that was my hard realization, because I was living this, like, I was thinking like, I'm good. Like, you know, like
you're doing great.
You know, I'm doing great, you know, but then it was like, wait, I have shit that I still need to take care of within myself, not even outside, just in here.
Oh, I know. I feel like, you know, once you just had to sit with yourself and you didn't have any distractions, like you couldn't go out, you couldn't drink, you couldn't do any of like the stuff that you would do to distract yourself, you really had to sit with it. So that was my big thing too. And I feel like I have some journal entry or something somewhere that's like, if you don't get out of 2020 with a different mindset, you didn't take it as an opportunity to like grow.
Yeah.
You know, but some people, you know, you can only speak for yourself. So I definitely took 2020 as an opportunity to kind of just like go in and reflect. And then that's why I think 2021 ended up being such a crazy and different year. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And then that's why we decided to do, like, after all the experiences that we had during 2020 and then during 2021, which is this year. Still
final hours.
Oh my God. We were like, we can't be the only ones doing the work.
No.
We can't be the only ones feeling the way that we feel. Like, there's just no way.
I think there is a collective shift and more people are awakening. Not everybody.
Not everyone.
But I feel like it is a little bit easier to have conversations like this with some other people. And, you know, like we mentioned in the beginning, you just have to kind of like find those people, hold on to them, because who knows what this next year is going to bring. But like, it's only the beginning.
Yeah.
And I would say like this whole podcast idea, we mentioned it earlier, and the whole crystal stuff, like it was really birthed out of this past year.
Yeah.
Like a realization that, you know, like, we need to heal.
Yeah.
And how do you do it? And so that was how we kind of started on this journey of like trying to figure this out for ourselves, you know, looking within, looking outside, getting support, you know, whatever you can.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be like a huge thing for our podcast.
And healing can be like a variety of things. It doesn't have to just be one thing. It can be so many things, especially like what we learned as children.
Oh, that's a big one.
That's a huge one. It's a huge one. What we have, our old programming of, you know, why people like, why was I treated like this when I was a child? Or why did this happen when I was a child? But it's like, all right, we can no longer say, why did this happen? Now we have to say like, what did I learn from this? And how can I love myself?
Yeah.
And how can I tell, and I'm speaking for myself, like little Jenny, and look at her and be like, I'm freaking proud of you, girl. Like, look at you.
Yeah. Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us. Look at us.
You know, like, I would have never guessed this, 8-year-old Jenny.
Yeah. No.
Like, the life that I, like, live.
Yeah. To just build on that, like, the healing journey, once you say yes to it, like, we're going.
You're like,
we're going.
You're like, why? Stop it.
There's no stopping it.
Why am I crying?
But I think that is a huge, like, scary thing. Even when I was kind of like committing to the idea of like doing the work, I was like super depressed. This was like a long time ago too. I would say like a couple of years ago. And you know, you think you're doing something, but you're only scratching the surface. You know, and then you get to another layer and you're like, fuck, I gotta like deal with this. Yeah. And then there's another layer and another and another. And like, it's not linear. It's not like chronological. Yeah. It just happens. And you just kind of have to prepare yourself.
Yeah.
And just be open and accept it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about the healing journey is not only what has happened to us, but what have you done too? That's another thing. What have you done?
What have I done? Because
we are not like perfect humans. We've had mistakes. What have I done? There's a lot of things that I've done repetitively.
Yeah, I was a messed up.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, and that's part of it. Like, okay, what I learned about what I won't accept, or, you know, how to deal with these circumstances. But what about me?
Yeah. And like
looking at yourself and saying like,
what have I done?
That's kind of shitty that you did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was shitty. You weren't really being a friend.
Yeah.
Or a good girlfriend or something.
Person,
yeah.
Or like, I think
family member.
That's the other part of it, is like looking back and seeing what you did. Not only what happened to you, but what have, like you said, what have you done when you weren't your most healed self?
Yeah.
You know, because we were all kind of just carrying all that and passing it on to other people, and then like, we just like ruin each other.
Yeah.
But it has to stop somewhere, and it starts with you realizing that and being open to like sharing and doing the work and just, you know, being vulnerable. I think that's really hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, I feel
with
like
yourself and
I think that I had when I moved to Tucson, I became like really vulnerable, but it wasn't until I went to Phoenix where I was super vulnerable, because I have been very closed off. Like, even my mom, she's like, you're really closed off. You hold a lot in.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Yeah. And like, so I started to like, you know, be a little bit more vulnerable, and the vulnerability turned into like crying. And like, I was just like, why? And it's like, because I never did that.
Yeah, right.
I never did that. I would hold it in, and then I'm silent. And then it's like, okay.
Well, to that, it's like really feeling the whole range of emotions.
Yeah.
Because when you hold back, you're like trying not to feel hurt or sadness or whatever it is that you're trying to like block out of your life. But then you're like blocking out a lot of good stuff too.
Yeah, you block out the good stuff.
So it's not like when you build a wall around your emotions, around yourself, it's like you're blocking everything out. So you kind of like numb yourself. And I felt like that for a long time. I felt really numb. Like I don't remember the last time I felt happy or sad. Like I never cry.
Yeah.
But now I do. And I cry watching TV. You know, like
I cry for
like,
anything.
For anything now, which is fine.
I'm like, I'm just a sensitive person.
This is the level
this is
of
who I am now.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we'll probably cover a lot of that too. Just like dealing with like emotions and, you know, feeling new things after you've been so shut off for a long time.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much for joining us. Really,
we're so happy that you guys could join us.
Yes, and appreciative. We love you guys, and we do want to ask you guys for a favor. Already asking for the favors. If you can go and like us on TikTok, follow us on TikTok.
Oh wait,
somewhere around here. Follow us on TikTok, and of course follow us on Instagram, and it's Crystals, Claws, and Coffee on TikTok, and it's crystals.claws.coffee on Instagram. So show us some love. You know, just comment, share, all of the things.
Yeah, and make sure you follow us here, obviously, YouTube. Subscribe and like, and then drop us any comments and things that you want us to talk about.
Yeah, something that you've probably been going through, need help with. We'll see if we can help you. We can help each other, because we're probably going through it too.
Yeah. Oh, and that was the other thing. It's like, we don't claim to be experts on anything, on any of this. So these are just our stories and our experiences that hopefully if we share them, you guys can relate. And
we're just learning like you guys.
We all are. We're all just figuring it out as we go.
We're all just learning this thing called life.
Okay, great.
That's it.
Thank you.
Bye.